Hey guys, it's me Chan Dragon, and today I'll do another fun discussion, but this time for Kazuha. So the topic about is that is it Kazuha still relevant to pull, especially at C0, or is she actually already fall off at current set, which is 3.7? And especially we know that Dendro is broken reaction, right? So is it make kinda Kazuha value is kinda go down or kinda fell off? So let's find out then. But take notes, this is based on my personal experience using him since the first debut banner until right now and based on my personal opinion. So anything that you don't necessarily disagree, then feel free. So the first thing I will talk about the current set of Kazuha is that he's still very useful with classic or the old reaction before Dendro anything. So he's kind of still very good a buffer to kind of increase the number of elemental damage for especially Vaporize, Freeze Steam, or even Melt. Still very good in general. Let's say if you know kind of like the Morgana team using Kazuha as a substitute, still working. Ayaka Freeze using Kazuha, it's very good still. Vaporize, if you want to have some combination with Hu Tao and Kazuha can also Diluc, it's still very good. And Ganyu Melt with Kazuha, still very good. So basically the one at old stuff is doing still a very good job, and you know the old reaction also is still very good, right? Like let's say Vaporize and Freeze still pretty much a strong reaction, and yeah, it's still very useful in those kind of things. And second, this is more to the revolutionary when Dendro come, which is Kazuha still have partial use in Dendro reaction, which is first if you ever heard like Air Fryer team, which is basically in here you need kind of Nahida and Pyro unit that you need to trigger the burn, and in here Kazuha can really help them to do the swirl, and you know that burning is a pyro reaction, so you can do the swirl of the burning. It's not only buff the burning effect, also it can continuously doing burning, and with the help also with the Fenty you can suck the enemy around. So that's why this team is very good with in terms of AoE type of stage of enemy. That's why in here Kazuha still bring a good use for the Dendro reaction. Of course you can substitute using sucrose, but Kazuha's in here prefer to be better though. And then also basically, Kazuha can work with Aggravate team, although not very kinda optimal or I would say the best option, but it still can work. So the things that kinda annoying in here that before you do the application with the Dendro, you have to swirl first. So let's say when you do your Yae 3 times, then you have to swirl first before you apply Dendro. If you already apply with Dendro, then Kazuha cannot swirl. So this is a little bit annoying here, but it can work. And in fact, if you kinda stack everything, yeah, the damage will go up quite high though. And of course, there's still another reaction that I cannot mention because it will take very long time. And the next part that I will talk in here, probably people will start to hate me, but at least this is based on my experience. But I want to make straight in here that I still say that Kazuha is still better than Sucrose. But in here, why I feel like Kazuha feel better, it's more actually into more convenient version of Sucrose, compared that if you kinda expect your Kazuha to be better than Sucrose just because it will give you a massive improvement in terms of kinda buffing your elemental damage, then it is not. In fact, I would say the difference is very small, at least in my experience, it's just very small, it's not that much. And my Sucrose is C6, and it's not even fully built, so probably if both fully built, the difference even becomes smaller though. So in here, why I say Kazuha is better, it's just feel more convenient though. So you can see like this skill, right? Kazuha can fly, Sucrose cannot, and the cooldown is very fast. And like Sucrose, when you use the E skill, is kind of very long, so sometimes you can die in there. So yeah, it's feel more convenient. Also the burst, I feel Kazuha burst is more sensitive when interact the element, so it can swirl like directly, while Sucrose sometimes it kind of delay or even didn't interact with the element for some reason though. So I feel it just give like more convenience using Kazuha that feel more stable compared to Sucrose. So yeah, just a reminder though for you to not expect your Kazuha to become a massive improvement for your elemental damage, a buffer compared to Sucrose. But if you think like that, probably that's not really good choice. But if you think like, okay, this is a more convenient version of your Sucrose, will become better, and you can use in overworld, or you think that, oh, I can put Kazuha in another team or Sucrose in another team, yes, then that's a good kind of thinking though, and yeah, should be a very good choice for you. And the next point that I will talk, this is more into Spiral Beast. If you don't care about Spiral Beast, feel free to skip this. So I will talk in here the state of Spiral Beast about Kazuha is that since Dendro release, the importance of Kazuha is basically dropping due to the wider selection and more alternative team. So it's not feel off that hard, but it's makes like Kazuha, it's not kinda you have to bring as always, although the usage rate I believe still very high, but it's not, I feel, super important like before Dendro, because before Dendro come, I'm very reliant on Kazuha. When Dendro come right now, I can kind of not use Kazuha, and sometimes I just realize I don't even use Kazuha for one whole patch though for the Spiral Abyss, just because Dendro give you kind of room for you to try different teams, so you have more selection, like type of unit, and some of the character before that not so great become good because of the Dendro itself. Let's say kind of Kuki Shinobu and Fischl from the good become very good, and some of the character like Yai that from just like okay become like tend to be good, and T9 also quite good. Al-Hitam's quite good. Nilo team, Nahida of course, especially that I will to say in my opinion is taking over Kazuha. So there's a lot more team building in here and alternative that doesn't make Kazuha bad or it's kind of not important. If you bring Kazuha in the Spiral Beast, in fact still very good. It's just like it doesn't feel like as a mandatory anymore. So it's kind of like makes Kazuha more into alternative right now than a must. And the next thing I will talk about is that Kazuha is actually very flexible in terms of team building. Basically, you can just put whatever with Kazuha and it can work though, except some of the Dendro unit though. But yeah, other than that, it can work in almost every single team though. So if you even like put in the very proper team, Kazuha will become very good and it will carry like your rider unit become super good in terms of their elemental damage. So in here, that's why makes Kazuha become very good, because like the character value for Genshin Impact for me, the one that become high, it's the one that become flexible. Let's say Nahida. Most of the keys you can just pair with anything, especially with the Dendro unit. Nahida just become very good though, and that's why Nahida become like one of the best units, just because is so universal. Same like Benet, Shincho, like pretty much you can just put everywhere, and also Xiangling, something like that. So because of that, that's why I say although Kazuha I feel like become not as a necessity or feel mandatory anymore, but his like pull value is still just very high, just because it's just very universal though. And another thing that I will to end up that this is actually not really much people care, but for me it's actually still very important, which is Kazuha is helpful actually in terms of exploration. Although right now he's not the best unit for exploration, just because I believe it's overtaken by Wanderer, because Wanderer is more flexible though. You can even do horizontal and vertical, and I think yeah, Wanderer is better in terms of that. But Kazuha is still pretty decent though in terms of like kind of flying. You want to reach something like a little bit high. It's basically still very good though. So yeah, it's also good for not on in combat, also in the exploration. So pretty much that's it though for our current state for Kazuha, at least until right now 3.7. But let's conclude in here and go back to main topic, which is Kazuha still relevant to pull, especially at C0, or is he actually fell off at 3.7, or actually when post Dendro or when Dendro come? And also say, yeah, fell off maybe just a little bit, just because I already told you before is that currently I feel that Kazuha importance or the feel of the necessity to have to bring Kazuha, it's kind of like decreasing a little bit, just because compared before Dendro or pre-Dendro, I always feel like if I didn't bring Kazuha, it's pretty much hard to finish Spiral Abyss though, or like every single patch before the Dendro, I have to bring Kazuha. But right now, I feel like it's very okay for me to not bring Kazuha at all though. Just because I feel like we have a lot of alternative right now since Dendro come. Like, we know Hypermoon just very strong. I just put Nahida, or other than that, I pull Al-Hitam in other team also in the Hypermoon. So I have like two different Dendro run, or even aggravate with my Ayamiko, or even just play classic national team with Sucrose. So before I just put like Sucrose in another team, Kazuha in another team. Right now, even right now, I only choose like maybe Dendro and another is Sucrose, or either if I want, then I will put Kazuha. So it feels like the important is not like as important as pre-Dendro though. So because of that, I feel like yeah, I just fell off a little bit. But if you have Kazuha, it's still very useful. And in fact, I want to say before, the thing that I really like because Kazuha is that he's very flexible. So pretty much in most of the case in Spiral Abyss, you can use Kazuha though. So it's very hard for you to not use Kazuha. And that's why the usage rate is still pretty much high, right? And also using in exploration, it's very nice still using with Kazuha. So because of that, I feel like Kazuha still meta no matter what, and the pool value is still very high though. And because of that, I feel like if you have enough currency or primo gem, then I still feel like I highly recommend you to pull Kazuha if you Kendo. And only at C0. Stop at C0 because that's the perfect stop for Kazuha at C0. Because right now I feel Kazuha constellation is kinda dropping, which I will explain later though. And but of course if you don't have any primo gems right now, then you don't really have to, because I already say it's not as kind of like important as before, because you have a lot of alternative right now, so don't really have to force yourself, especially free to play. But yeah, if you have currency or primo gem, then I very highly recommend to pull. So thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and like if you like this kind of video, and I hope the best of luck with your pull of your Kazuha, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.